following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Another sports week is in the books, and one to remember last night for sure. A very unique night where the Kansas City Royals are playing in the postseason, and the Kansas City Chiefs are hosting Monday Night Football at the exact same time. But let's quickly just run down and start checking some boxes. Did the Dallas Cowboys win? They sure did. Chiefs won. Royals have evened the series. The Denver Broncos won.
Yes, they did, and ended a losing slide against the Raiders in doing so double whammy.
And then finally, did the Chicago Bears win? They won. How about that?
Caleb Williams, 304 yards passing, had a very happy AJ on Sunday, who was just in a great mood. I was in a fantastic mood.
And the Dallas Cowboys pulled one out of their ass. Welcome to the game. Mitch Fortner, Troy Coverdale, and A.J. Shaw. Slipped up on there a little bit, excuse me. But they did get it done. They beat the Steelers Sunday Night Football after a long weather delay. Fourth down play. Dak Prescott with the ace on a passing play for a touchdown. And, the Dallas Cowboys are now 3-2. Welcome to the game, like I mentioned. We got a busy show. We got Max Olson from ESPN. He covers college football. He'll be joining us coming up at 5 to 10 to talk Big 12 football. Some significant news about the Colorado Buffalo defense. That's big news for this game on Saturday when they host the K-State Wildcats. We have a new Jabroni of the Week to crown coming up at 4:40. There's going to be a major twist, something you're not going to see coming. Is that a good tease for Jabroni of the Week? You guys just dying to know what that is?
I mean, does it have to do with the conversation that will precede that?
Has nothing to do with Bob Costas.
Oh, okay. He didn't make the Jabroni field.
I will tell you that he did not.
Thank goodness.
Well, and I think later in this first hour we'll, kind of cover why he's not going to be,
right?
Considered for Jabroni of the Week or a dishonorable mention, but we'll crown a Jabroni of the Week coming up at 4:40. We'll talk Royals here in just a moment. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. I have to do this now because AEW Dynamite is actually on tonight. It's their annual Title Tuesday.
Because Wednesday is taken over by baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Royals.
Yes.
Yeah, the Royals are the reason why.
Yes.
AEW Dynamite's moved to Tuesday. They do it every year during baseball season. They call it Title Tuesday. Last year it was in Kansas City. It was a phenomenal show. This year it's in Spokane, Washington. But here's the big news about AEW that AJ tried to spoil yesterday. I slammed the brakes on that. AEW is making its return to Kansas City coming up on December 11th of 2024. And folks, tickets go on sale on the 14th. So this coming Monday. And it's no longer in Independence, in some rinky-dink arena called Cable Dahmer Arena.
They got the big place.
They're going T-Mobile Center.
Wow.
Their first event in the T-Mobile Center, which I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if they need all that space. I don't know if they're quite there yet for a medium wrestling market. But I appreciate the effort. All right, last night the Royals guarantee there will be 2 postseason ALDS games at Kauffman Stadium coming up on Wednesday and Thursday as the Royals come back win the big 4-run 4th inning to beat the Yankees in Game 2 of the ALDS. Again, the final score, Royals 4, New York Yankees 2. That evens the series at a game apiece after back on Saturday in it really was a hell of a game. 5 lead changes, the most in postseason baseball history. The Yankees beat the Royals 6-5.
Yeah, great game, 6-5. Frustrating.
People like lead changes.
Listen, 8 walks. Come on. That was maddening. Disgusting.
I will say this.
Anger-inducing.
I will say this, the way the game started last night.
Oh.
Royals go down 1-2-3 in the first. Carlos Rodon strikes out the side. Reagans comes out, walks the first 2. You're like, here we go again. Royals are going to get killed.
It was a tale of 2 innings. I mean, he didn't get out of the fourth, did Carlos Rodon, but it was kind of a tale of two innings, like you mentioned, because he leads off and he's just dominating, right? Yeah. And then things change thanks to a Salvador Perez solo home run. That coming in the third inning, check that the fourth inning, and then tack on the next 3 runs where the Royals just step up to the plate with Yuri Gurriel, Michael Massey, Pham, racking up the hits, just sliding right through the infield out to the outfield, base hits, and the Royals, I tell you what, Yankee Stadium is a crazy environment. It's the best environment in baseball if you ask me.
You been there?
I've been there. I've been there a few times. It's different. Yankees fans treat a regular season game in May like a postseason game. I think the bullpen had a big bounce back game for Kansas City. Yangel Zerpa gets the win. He goes an inning after Cole Reagan's. I mean, what'd you think about Cole Reagan's start? Only goes 4 innings, 87 pitches. Gives up just the 1 run.
He gives up just the 1 run, but started erratic and never really did seem to find a flow in terms of compared to what he has done through much of this year. I do question, well, first of all, I do question that, we're talking in his case, younger pitcher being ramped up, first appearance in the playoffs as a starter. That matters. That matters, especially when you're doing it at Yankee Stadium. I also question the stamp-sized strike zone for one team versus the other, but, that can be discussed other ways. The fact of the matter is, even with the stamp-sized strike zone, Aaron Judge still hasn't done jack squat. So that's at least the healthy side of things.
See, Aaron Judge, I think he had a hit last night.
Yeah, 1 for 10.
But he's terrible in the postseason with strikeouts. I was reading something earlier today and it was also mentioned on yesterday's radio broadcast, which was on 101.5 K-Rock, something we've never done, but again, Royals and Chiefs playing at the same time, that Aaron Judge has like one of the worst strikeout rates in the postseason in Major League Baseball history. He's about to win his 2nd MVP award, and he strikes out like crazy in the postseason.
Yeah.
How does a living legend? Is that accurate statement about Aaron Judge yet? A player of his caliber.
There you go.
Yeah,
how is he just so different at the plate when it's postseason play?
The pressure.
He still plays the same home games in the same ballpark. I mean, really, ever since August, he just hasn't been. I mean, what do you think? Has he been Aaron Judge?
Well, it's because he went on that Nickelodeon show and broke his favorite bat. That was a meme going around. But in all seriousness, the pressure gets to those guys. I mean, Barry Bonds was a historically poor playoff performer when he was on the Pirates. And outside of the 1 year the Giants went to the World Series, he wasn't great in the postseason. It's one of those things. Sometimes players perform when it matters. George Brett performed when it mattered. I was actually watching the George Brett documentary last night. Great documentary. Hits a big home run in the 80 ALCS off Goose Gossage.
You watched a George Brett documentary last night?
Yeah, I did.
How long was the documentary?
A little over an hour.
How'd you squeeze that in with the game on?
You
get up in the mornings. Must have been a late night.
I didn't watch the game. I was watching
He got that Royals fever.
Yeah, well, because I saw George Brett at the game after Salvi hit the home run, and I'm like, I want to go watch the George Brett documentary. So I went and watched the George Brett documentary, and then I watched a little, and then I realized, all right, it's getting late, so I went to bed. But I watched a little bit of the game. Awkward silence.
Well, I was looking at I was waiting for something to load here because the next Royals pitcher is going to be Seth Lugo.
Yep.
Urseg did have a nice save though in the ninth inning. Seth Lugo rested, ready to go. Game 3 against the Yankees. Troy, so take it from here and tell us the momentum after winning Game 2. You even the series. You're going to get 2 games at Kauffman Stadium. You can win the series at Kauffman Stadium. Where is Kansas City's momentum now that Seth Lugo's going to pitch tomorrow night, and you essentially have the advantage now with 2 home games.
You have the advantage with 2 home games. The fact that you could, if you win out, clinch this thing on your home field gives you all of the momentum. You get out of Yankee Stadium with a split and do so against that lineup in that Judge has been quieted. Giancarlo Stanton is a non-factor right now. And the Royals, barring that final homestand of the season, have been very good at home all year. You have to like where they sit. The realization, though, they've not been home in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they played the final 6 games on the road before playing 2 in Baltimore, now 2 in New York. So their last 10 games over a 2-week stretch have been on the road. They've not been to the K since that debacle that ended the 0-for-6 stretch that ended the season at home.
Well,
so that's a little worrisome.
The Texas Rangers last year, how long were they on the road for?
Yeah, they were on the road 2 weeks as well.
Yeah.
Mets were in the same boat this year because of the fact that literally they went Atlanta to Milwaukee to Atlanta to Milwaukee.
Yeah. I think the Rangers played 6 home games in the playoffs last year. I mean, and they got most of their wins on the road. I mean, sometimes that's the key for a team to get hot.
Well, and here's another storyline about this series so far in the ALDS. Troy, you mentioned Aaron Judge and how he just stinks in the postseason, and we mentioned the strikeouts. Bobby Witt Jr.
Has not shown up yet.
He's not shown up in the ALDS. He's worse. He's 0 for 10 with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah. He is pressing. I think there is no other way to put that in that he is pressing and trying to do too much.
But right now, I mean, the books, what is the numbers, what are the pages, what do the books and numbers tell you about, okay, well, who's most likely to wake up in a Game 3 and Game 4 in Kauffman Stadium with these guys in their 2 histories? First of all, Bobby Witt Jr. does not have a postseason history. This is it.
Right
Here. We're living through it right now.
Right.
This is his history. The Yankees are the Yankees. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. He's had plenty of time to write his own story. It's not a good one.
No, it's not. Thankfully. No, in Witt's case, he has the opportunity to write his own story, and it comes at a place, again, where he's been very comfortable all year. And the fact that everything lies in front of this team in these next couple of games, if Witt is able to get something going, you factor in Pasquantino being back in the lineup, and he's been solid. He's not been, knocked down, drag out great, but he's been doing a solid job, at least, in keeping things moving in the line. And he's doing that with a hand, let's be perfectly honest, that he really probably shouldn't be playing, but we'll hope that it doesn't factor in any worse. I mean, he's literally batting with that finger off of the bat. He's holding the bat with 9 fingers and keeping that pinky off the bat. And that's awkward.
Or maybe he's just trying to play the game with a little bit of class.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my goodness.
No. This is not cricket.
Yes, thank God our America's pastime is not cricket.
Oh, boy. NT time. Yeah.
So one other thing we have not touched on about last night and about this series so far, we'll talk about after the break. And it's about the guy that was on the play-by-play last night and on Saturday. Was there a little bias towards the home team? We'll hear the clips and judge from there when we come back. You're listening to The Game.
Tweet The Game, KMAN, or call 537-1350 and get in touch with the show. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN. Are you ready for this?
The Fox Sports broadcast just showed someone dressed up as Grimace. I hate to tell him that's not the real Grimace
At the game?
at Citi Field. You haven't heard this whole bit.
Well, I saw a video earlier today of Grimace jumping on a subway heading...
Yeah, this one was definitely low-level Grimace. This was purple sheet thrown over a guy with eyes painted on it almost, and wasn't very good.
Must be lost. Can't figure out where Central or Times Square is.
Right. Yeah.
Because you'll find all those the knockoff Elmos and Who else is out there?
Spider-Man,
Cookie Monster.
and for good measure, Naked Cowboy.
Now, I've never seen
The Naked Cowboy?
I think
Really?
don't know if he's around still.
Hey, man, it's Hocktober. You don't
Say that again?
Hocktober.
Oh, God.
Because she
Yes.
threw out the first pitch at the Mets game.
Yes.
Man, you are fascinated
He's got a
with
crush.
Hawk Tua
Yeah.
girl.
I have a crush. No, I don't.
Have you listened to her podcast?
I told you. Well, I have listened to it. It was bad.
More than one episode.
I watched the one episode. It was with I forgot what the lady's name was. Something. I think she was on The Bachelorette or something.
All right, let's move on.
I don't remember. It was not good.
A crush, though, maybe.
Oh, stop it.
Could be possible.
Yep.
Is your celebrity crush the Hawk Tua girl?
No.
Do you have one?
No, not now. Not at this juncture of my life. Probably when I was younger more than anything.
It should be this juncture of your life. You're 22 years old, right? 23?
23.
23?
Yeah.
No celebrity crush?
No.
All right. Let's move on. Were you fond at all of Bob Costas in his call last night?
No, I was very disappointed in Bob. I used to be a big fan of Bob Costas, listening back to his old games in the 90s when he'd call playoff baseball on NBC or playoff basketball. The shot in Utah by Jordan, 98. But yeah, Bob's turning into Al Michaels. He's kind of past his prime at this point.
I've never been the biggest Bob Costas fan. I think he's better as like a sports anchor, like a studio host, than he is an actual play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm too young for his prime work.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see it live, you know?
Yeah, the 80s and 90s, especially on baseball, he was tremendous. And I will admit, up front, I idolized Costas. But, yeah, you can tell that he essentially is mailing in baseball broadcasts nowadays.
Well, he's getting called out for his call in the eighth inning.
Awful.
It was a double play ball that was turned by Bobby Witt Jr. And a pivotal play because the Yankees are trying to make a comeback in the late innings. It's 4-1 Royals. And here was the Bob Costas call that ended the eighth inning for the Yankees.
Hit to short. Witt gets the force. Can they turn two? Yes, they can, and it's just the point we were making. It's not Giancarlo's fault. A near base hit, couldn't beat it out at the other end, turns into a double play.
So
unfortunate, so sad.
That clip blows up,
God.
and it's the tone change. Mm-hmm. That's like, holy crap. He's not even trying to pretend that he's not biased here in this game because he's a New York guy.
He's a Yankees fan. He grew up a Yankees fan, and he went to Syracuse.
Listen to that tone change one more time.
Gets the force. Can they turn two? Yes, they can, and it's just the point we were making. It's not Giancarlo's fault.
We're all broadcasters. We've all been there where the team that we're covering, sometimes it's our favorite team, sometimes it's just the team we're covering, and we don't necessarily have the tightest relationship or anything or the tie or anything, but you want them to win. It makes the broadcast for you better, and you're going to feed off of that. It's your best work going to take place. We've all had those plays that just did not go our way, and deep down we're like, crap, this sucks. I'm sad. This isn't good. Our job is not to sell it that way on the air, or at least be super vocal about it. You can in your own way, That's the most professional way to do it. There have been times I definitely did not want to go that way.
We have a run on the board.
There have been K-State games that have just gone down in just horrific fashion. I once called an almost no-hitter for K-State in Texas against Utah, and it blows up in their face in the ninth inning. They end up losing the game, and I'm like, deep down, this sucks. This is horrible. Try not to pass it off that way, though, although they gave up the no-hitter. I mean, heck, you could be super biased and be like, Avery Johnson screws up in a play. You're like, damn it!
Yeah.
Avery! What are you doing? Now, that would be bias. That would be a little too over the top. A little too dramatic. Showing your car. You're telling everybody, yeah, I'm a big K-State fan. I want them to win. Here I am on TV. The thing is, after that play happened, and that clip was all over social media, everybody's like, oh, my God, Bob Costas has just been just biased towards the Yankees this whole series. He's been terrible. Get him off. He is not professional, should not be there, past his, whatever. I went back and listened to a few other clips, and to see, like, when the Royals had a big play, what was he like? Was he biased towards those big plays? Was he underselling it? Let's play a few of these back. Here was a Salvi home run.
2-0 pitch. A drive to deep left field. This ball is on its way. This ball is gone.
So that's the Salvi home run.
A bit understated.
Here's when the Royals take the lead.
The 1-2. Line into right. It's going to drop for a base hit. Gurriel is being waved home. No play on him, and Tommy Pham comes through. The Royals take the lead.
Okay, and then here was when the Royals took a 3-1 lead. I believe this was the next batter.
Through the hole, another base hit. Here comes Pham around third. Verdugo fires toward the plate. No play there. Hampson takes second base.
I kind of heard this as like Bob Costas is on the radio calling the game. It's nothing exciting. I wouldn't say it's biased towards one team or the other.
Right.
It just doesn't have a lot of juice to it.
Right.
See, if you've heard any of my play-by-play, and it's a good game, and a big play happens, I'm going to give you some juice. That's just who I am. When it comes to play-by-play, I am juice. I bring plenty of it. Just tune in this Friday for Manhattan, Wichita Northwest. The only matchup in Kansas this week that pairs up two undefeated teams against each other. It's at Bishop Stadium. It's a huge game. There's going to be plenty of juice. Bob Costas is in his 70s. For sure, he's past his prime. You're not going to get this fully energetic play-by-play. Big play happens either way. It's just probably not there anymore. I personally didn't feel like that was what someone considered the other egregious play-by-play for a Royals postseason.
Oh.
When it was Joe Buck and Madison Bumgarner. You know, here's the deal, though. Madison Bumgarner was having one of the best pitching performances in World Series history. Anybody remember his numbers?
Oh, yeah.
Both of these, both Joe Buck and Bob Costas, I didn't necessarily have a problem with. Yes, bias in that eighth inning play. But Madison Bumgarner, through 21 innings in that World Series, he gave up one run, tossed a no-hitter in Game 5.
There is a reason.
Or a complete game in Game 5, not a no-hitter, but a complete game.
You know, I've told you I've been doing simulated baseball outside the Park 25, which is a lot of fun. And I'm into the flow playing. Basically, you play a season a week in the simulation mode. But to be able to get Madison Bumgarner on your roster, it takes a certain amount of chit in terms of the points and the coinage that you need to have. Chits.
You freaked me out. I was like, what did you just say?
I know. I know. You know,
that's
I know.
That's close.
I know.
Go ahead.
But you do have to have a certain amount of material in place, or luck into drawing one of the packs that actually has his card in there. I want to say it's like 100,000 is the going rate for his card right now. Why? Because he was so dang good in the playoffs.
That eighth inning call, yes, the fan in him got out there a little bit too much, right?
Well, here's the other thing at play. He also lives in St. Louis.
Bob Costas does?
Oh, yeah.
Who would choose to live in St. Louis?
Because his initial job out of college was the ABA voice in St. Louis.
That was 50 years ago.
And he stuck around. He made his home there.
I would not want to live in St. Louis. So He's closer to home. He's going to be on the call for the games in Kauffman Stadium. But I was more, though, feeding off his excitement for the game. The fan in him just it escaped a little bit too much, and it compromised the integrity of the broadcast. I think the integrity of the broadcast really it hit a low once that eighth inning play took place. Now, in a way, I as a broadcaster myself and you as well, I'm going to give him a break, of course, because things happen. I mean, there was this moment. Maybe this is the most egregious part of the whole broadcast where live on air, it's in the fourth inning or something. There's two outs. Like, this is definitely a part of the game where it's certainly you're on air, and Bob Costas is supposed to read a CNN promo. And there's a hot mic, and this was what was picked up.
CNN promo? Puts me in a difficult spot.
Okay, so there's a lot of smoke on the water in the background from the Oregon player. But what Bob Costas said was CNN promo? ? And then here at the very end again.
Puts me in a difficult spot.
Puts me in a difficult spot.
He's a contributor to CNN. But that doesn't make a lot of sense why it would put him in a difficult spot. By the way, that's one of those conversations, and you know this as well as anybody, that should be you're pushing the talk back to producer rather than talking on mic over it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why that would be putting him in a difficult spot. He's a contributor to CNN, and he's working for the same company last night. It's all Warner Brothers Discovery. TBS, TNT, CNN, all under that umbrella.
Max.
So it doesn't make sense why he would be. I don't get that one, why he even had an issue with that.
So maybe I'm in the minority. I wasn't super upset by the Bob Costas call. It just didn't. Again, the one thing that I just, as a broadcaster, where I'm at in my career and the experience I have and what I want out of a postseason game like that, especially when it's exciting. It's the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. The Royals are, they hadn't been to the postseason in 9 years. You have a close game. Even going back on Saturday, how crazy that game was. Mm-hmm. There was a lack of excitement from the play-by-play.
Sure.
There was a lack of juice. This will never get played back as an historic call. Although Bob Costas has plenty of those in his career, it's just not the delivery it probably should be.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that. Again, maybe that one play was biased. I think the rest of the broadcast, though, really wasn't that bad. It just felt pretty generic.
Especially late in the game when Witt makes a pretty good play to even start that double play.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, let's crown a brand new Jabroni of the Week after these words.
Your home for K-State sports.
Touchdown, Wildcats. Chris Harper and Colin Klein put that football in a shoebox.
This is The Game on News Radio.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You jabronis hit the jackpot.
That Hollywood blonde jabroni, Hulk Hogan.
Ow. Is this jabroni's name?
Jabroni of the Week.
After a week hiatus, we are back with Jabroni of the Week. 3 dishonorable mentions, and we'll finish up with my official Jabroni of the Week for October 8th of 2024. Well, our first dishonorable mention actually happened earlier today in New York, New Jersey.
Oh.
My first dishonorable mention is going to go to New York Jets former head coach Robert Saleh. In his 4th season after 5 games and a 2-3 start, Robert Saleh, he was expecting to just go to work, get ready to prep for the next game, whoever that's against.
Oh, the Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
Monday night game.
A Monday night game. Oh, man, getting fired right before a Monday night game.
Storyline. Oh.
Man, ESPN's going to have something to talk about. Anyway, the 45-year-old head coach, he shows up. He's called in the old owner's office, and he's told, "You're fired. Get out of here." Robert Saleh has coached in 56 games. He has a 20-36 record. And here's the deal, though. When he was fired, it was like it was a little tense, right? Mm-hmm. They had to call the chief of security to forcibly remove Robert Saleh from the grounds immediately. Ooh. Wasn't allowed to go in his office and get his stuff. He had to leave right away. Also, to add on top of this, there's a lot of rumors flying around. He was wearing a Lebanon flag on his shirt. Yes. Maybe that's too political for the Jets. Also, there's word that Aaron Rodgers had a little something to do with Robert Saleh getting canned.
Say.
I know.
Well, Saleh is Lebanese, correct?
He is.
Yeah, so, it would make sense why he would have a Lebanon flag on his
jacket.
Sure,
but Woody Johnson was also famously a ambassador to a country under the former president. So there's that little political play that might be in there.
Yeah.
Might be.
Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, whatever his name is. Yeah. Anyway, he's going to be the interim head coach for the remainder of the season. My next dishonorable mention is going to go to Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook. I think we all had mentioned Vegas picked Mizzou.
Yes.
Plus 2.5 to get the dub in College Station.
I did.
Brady Cook, I feel like he intended it. Some of the Missouri media was like, oh, he didn't intend for this quote to mean what a lot of people interpret it to be. It wasn't that big of a deal. Brady Cook said prior to the game in College Station against Texas A&M, a top 25 game, the only one of the week this past Saturday, in which Texas A&M won in blowout fashion. Brady Cook, prior to that game, said, quote, "The noise at practice is actually louder." This game was a blowout, in halftime, right? At the end of the first quarter, it's pretty much a done deal. Colin Klein had himself with that offense a phenomenal game.
Yep.
Against a really good Missouri defense. It was 34-7 in the fourth quarter. There were back-to-back. Again, this is a blowout. Kyle Fields still delivering the noise, the 12th man. And there were back-to-back false start penalties on Missouri. Most of us had probably flipped the channel by then, right? We're not watching. After that second false start penalty, on the Jumbotron at Kyle Field, they put the Brady Cook quote on the big screen while they also had Brady Cook on the screen as well. It was like a little graphic on his belly.
Oh,
for the next play.
Beautiful.
I thought that was well played. I love that kind of stuff. We need more of that in college football. Brady Cook is my second dishonorable mention. My last dishonorable mention, maybe a surprise. My last dishonorable mention is the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's simply because of their loss to Vanderbilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that loss.
Did you see SEC shorts this week, by the way?
No, I don't watch anything SEC that is outside of a game.
Basically along the lines of Annie Eggers' meetings, videos that she does with the NFL. Same concept. They do a bunch of shorts related
funnier.
to very well. You say that as a Bears fan. I know. I get where you're coming from. She's a Packers fan. But they do a video each week specifically following the Saturday games, and theirs for this weekend was epic. Absolutely epic.
Maybe this is the SEC's version of K-State versus Nebraska. For the longest time, it was all Nebraska, all blowouts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nick Saban, during his tenure at Alabama, had only allowed Vanderbilt in every game they played combined 13 total points. Vanderbilt scored 13 points in the first quarter against Kalen DeBoer's number 1 ranked Alabama team. That was Vanderbilt's first ever win against an AP top team in the country. They were previously 0-60 versus top 5 teams heading into that game in Nashville. But there's more to this. There are images after the game of Alabama fans, or I should say Alabama players, having to be restrained because while they were leaving the field, they were being heckled by Vanderbilt fans that were, of course, rushing the field and also in the stands. So security had to come separate them. And then at the end of the game, and this is a captain for Alabama, Malachi Moore, who plays on defense, could be seen visibly unsportsmanlike conduct. He kicked the ball away from the Commodores while they tried to kneel the clock, and he waved off the coaching staff when they tried to remove him from the game. He was throwing one of the biggest temper tantrums I think I've seen at an end of a game while it's still taking place, and you know what's going to happen. They're just going to take a knee. He threw a big old fit. Kalen DeBoer announced he's not going to give him any disciplinary action because he publicly stated that he apologized after the game for his actions.
That win was for this kid, the sad Vandy kid.
I don't remember that.
That's from a few years ago.
So AJ's showing us a picture of a shot of Alabama beating Vanderbilt 52-0. The score is on the TV. It's a CBS game, and there's just one kid in the student section sitting there for whatever reason, just taking in the punishment.
Wondering why he went to Vanderbilt to watch that.
Well, and what's even sweeter, K-State experienced this, how long ago was it? Like 7, 8 years ago when they played at Vanderbilt, they lost in Nashville. But there's hardly any Vanderbilt fans that go to the games. Doesn't matter really how good the team is, from decent to whatever, mediocre, whatever, there hardly any players or fans go. There were a ton of Alabama fans there. Like that full
always.
TV side of the stands was just full with Alabama fans. And so a ton of Alabama fans witnessed that game in person.
One of the jokes from the weekend was that the rebuild of Vanderbilt as a team was done before the rebuild of their stadium was.
By the way, that
you said that as like a joke.
Yeah, it was intended as a joke, but there's a little bit of truth to that as well.
That meme, by the way, is from 2017.
But I told you at the beginning of the show there would be a little bit of a swerve here because I'm sure most people would have thought this week it would easily be Alabama. But here on Jabroni of the Week, we pull no punches. I consider all Jabrones to be up for the top award.
What did I do?
It has nothing to do with anybody in this room, but it does have to do with some folks in Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Just younger. It's a high school team.
Oh, no.
It would take a lot to top what Alabama did, but I'm going to take you to Huntsville, Alabama, and Columbia High School. This past Thursday, they played Decatur High School at home and lost 54-16. That loss for Columbia is their 87th in a row, setting a new United States high school football record for the longest losing streak ever. For any program in the United States, all time. That's according to Max Prep's Columbia High School football. For the longest losing streak in history is my Jabroni of the Week.
But homecoming had to be lit with the celebration.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
you're both laughing your tails off.
We got the record.
No, they were like,
I know. I'm laughing at the
going to social media like they didn't know that this was happening. It's like people in Huntsville. It's like, oh, this is happening. Oh, this has got to be a coach problem. That's like they're just going to like these Facebook posts and complaining about it. You haven't been complaining about it at 86 and 85 and 84 and 83 consecutive losses?
Yeah.
They're with their fourth coach now in the last 5 years. We got to wrap up hour one. Hour two coming up next. We're going to speak with Max Olson from ESPN to talk Big 12 football and Colorado's defense. Are they going to be at full strength on Saturday? We'll discuss. Hour two is next on KMAN.
KMAN.